Greetings. Yeah, I don't know if I need to introduce myself every time, but I guess I should. So, it's Eleni today. And I say that because it's not my real name. But a lot of people do call me that. Call me a lot of different things. That's one of them. So, oops, I don't have my microphone. The whole idea is to use my microphone. You guys will see if there's a difference or not. Let's try this. Put this in here. That seems to be on. So the microphones are on. No, I don't think I need this puppy phone today because I'm not outside. So we'll just do that for today. Well, I'm going to dedicate this episode to anyone that is exploring spiritual knowledge. Look, I took a shaman course, okay? But so I'm talking to all the people who might be taking like shamanism courses or working with crystals or all sorts of things I don't know anything about. But if you find that you're on a path of discovering and touching base with maybe the fourth or fifth dimension, I don't really know what that means other than not in the here and now, not anything you can see and touch. If you have a calling or if you feel that that's something that has been in the back of your mind or maybe in the forefront and you're pushing it away for whatever reason, for whatever cognitive dissonance you may have with that, this is the episode. Ever since, I don't know when, I always kind of felt like, oh, I have something calling me. And growing up in a very dogmatic religion, I really gave it all to the church, kind of like, yeah, this is it. I have it. But after sort of disillusionment, or not to use that word is kind of negative, but like having conflictual ideas of what I was learning or being taught and what I felt was true, I kind of had to take a step back and say, well, let me step away from this for a second. This is not really making sense like it used to. And I had a very big void, large void, and I prayed and I said, I want to fill this void with some connection to spirit. And it was a very lonely time because I couldn't find it. I was looking maybe other different denominations. Then I was looking at maybe the whole religious outlooks in general. Then I was kind of like focusing on different theories. And then I sort of needed some guidance. And I thought, why not see a shaman? And I did. And it really gave me a lot of inquietudes. So that's like the opposite of peace, because it kind of put on my plate that I had everything I needed to inside to break free from any kind of limiting beliefs and so forth. That's a little challenging. But prior to that, in my journey, I came across a hypnosis course. So I took the rapid transformational therapy course from Marissa Peers. It's very exciting. It's really wonderful. And the most impactful thing was that I could and did have a positive impact on the people that I worked with. People that really broke out of their um, stuckness, you know, in their limiting beliefs, or, you know, they weren't able to move forward. All of a sudden, that type of therapy was extremely impactful. Not right away per se, but when I checked in with my clients slash friends, I could see the difference in their lives and the joy and like simple things, because I just was starting off with like, what do you want to work on? You know, like weight loss, or embracing, you know, my own sensuality and my dress, you know, where you can be comfortable and modest and still have a shapely garments. You know, people that have everyone has their own, you know, hang-ups. And then I see these people now, and I see them dressing very appropriately and modest, but but showing their figure. They're sort of allowing the world to appreciate, you know, their beauty, which is something that we all like to do, to appreciate other people's beauties and just beauty in general. I saw someone drop dramatic amount of weight, you know, and of course not right away, but you know, nothing really happens right away. What happens right away is the shift in the blinking of an eye, made completely new and transformed. That happens immediate, like that can happen instantaneous. And then changes that occur happen through the time, you know, given to this new transformation, to this new self, to this new idea of self. And you start seeing the differences in the lives of other people that you work with. And sometimes for the individual, it might be hard to see it because it's gradual, but it's happening nonetheless. So that with rapid transformation therapy, that was really amazing. I was going to say, I wish that that's a sentence I want to move away from, that phrase. I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that in the limited manner that I decided to practice. And in the meantime, I went to a shaman, because even though I had worked through a lot of subconscious issues through this type of therapy for myself, I still felt stuck. And to know that I had within the power to shift that immediately, I wanted to, was a little bit disheartening, because I thought I wanted to, but then I guess I didn't want to. And that's kind of the place that we are when we are stuck. You know what we need to do, but for whatever reason, we feel it's not available to us. Um, where we're at, we're not enough, and all sorts of, you know, we don't belong, we're not accepted, we're not wanted. So these are the basic deceptions, the deceptions that we live with, that really shape our day to day, our thoughts about ourselves, the narratives we have with other people, and the energies that we continue to attract and invite. So, having said that, I mean, I could go on with maybe another chapter, or program, or episode regarding my introduction to shamanism, but I think it was something that was always in my soul. You know, I started reading, I was checking out at some supermarket back in the early 90s. Um, yeah, early 90s. The Jean All series, Earth Children series. And there was a lot of mystical figures in there. The main character became a medicine woman, breaking a lot of barriers and such. But the point is that there was medicine work, medicine women, medicine men, and that was very comfortable for me. Like, I loved that part of the character. And having said that, I think it just drew out in me what I am now, um, developing and growing, which is my connection with the spirit world, with the mysticism of life, with the magic of healing, with energy work. And I hear it all the time, and I don't want to sound like, ooh, energy, but it is what it is. Like, there is a undisputable fact that at the cellular level, we are energetic charges. We have a magnetic resonance. We live because of the electrical communication between ourselves. So to say that, oh, energy is a gimmick, or it's, a trend, or, it's a business, it's a scam, it's what, I don't know what people call, or it's the devil, where people have either fear, or we have a misunderstanding. We have indoctrinated that out of our psyche. It just goes back to remembering the time in our human existence where you couldn't say the world was round. You couldn't speak of the sun, the earth revolving around the sun. These were all ideas that really shook the establishment. And I think we're getting into a time where talking about energy and moving energy and changing behavior patterns and manipulating our outcomes is more of a accepted mindset. Could be trending, it could be something like everyone wants to jump, people want to jump on that, but it's worth jumping on, because ultimately I think the more you open your mind to these sciences of indigenous and tribal populations, these are truths that the earth, plant, elements, spirit has communicated to us throughout our entire existence. Now, there are bodies of truth that have been used to sort of soften, limit your own power, our own ability to rely on our own divinity. And it's softened or reduced or even eliminated our being in touch with our own power. And that comes from someone, myself, who has been very uncomfortable with personal power. Something I felt is not available to me. I'm not comfortable with my own authority. Those are things that I don't want to say I am. I experienced life in that mindset for many years. So moving away from that mindset and saying, well, I am going to explore my power. I'm going to be comfortable with my power and my authority, and less so on approval, a high five, or like, well done, because at the end of the day, the beauty of it is that you are perfect. I am perfect. And there is no there's no penalty for that. And so you could say, oh, well, I could do better. I'm like, yeah, well, the same goes for a seed. A seed could do better. I mean, you could have an acorn rolling around in your office on your desk for years. But it's not going to be anything but an acorn. Inside that acorn is the seed power. I mean, in that acorn exists the energy for growth and bigness and rooted and established and giving and providing. So you take an acorn, it's a perfect acorn. It has everything, all the parts, it's all that. That's it. But you can't be mad at the acorn and say it's not perfect, because it's not a tree. It's not the oak, majestic, But put it in the ground and you have a seedling. Now you're not going to be mad at the seedling because it's not an acorn or it's not a tree. It is perfect. It has all that it can have, that it must have to be a sapling, seedling, sapling, tree. Okay, so the point I'm making, maybe too simple, but it is that I would recommend, it is recommended that we see our perfection in the moment. There is no other way that I need to exist other than what I am existing as right now. With everything that I could say is good or bad, these things don't really exist. It is that I am in my perfect state. And it's that simple. And there's no pressure. And, I can choose to create this dramatic pressure for myself and this idea that I'm not worthy, but I want to live that truth that I learned. There are a lot of really beautiful things about phrases and things that I found in the Bible and scripture, like, be ye perfect as I am perfect. That's a lovely and extremely embraceable concept. It's very simple. If I am to be perfect, because I am perfect, if I'm going to follow that command, then I need to realize that this is part of the perfect plan. This is part of the perfect plan. And I'm okay with that. Now, going back to becoming a shaman, okay, so I took the course. Now what? I have a certificate. Okay. But what came with that was just tapping into universal truths. What came with that was a real connection to the power of my ancestors and the power of spirit and that moment in which I said, okay, I can facilitate the movement of the power of spirit. And so there's a lot of conflict for me growing up, like I said, in a very dogmatic religious background, and programming. So I have to work on, like, one of the things that I'm sharing this is because perhaps there are other people like me on this journey and wonder, hey, it's like, is this real? Am I real? Am I an imposter? Am I just, is this it's kind of, sometimes you think, is this not credible? Like, I have my degrees in XYZ and I existed in this world as, a professional of ABC. And I could say, oh, I am this profession, I am that, I'm not, I'm like, oh, and I can't say the same for being a shaman. I am a shaman. It's like, I don't want, like, that doesn't ring true. So I'm at a point of what rings true. Do I worry about that? Do I just move forward and, just say, hey, it's happening. I'm having an impact, or there are people that are benefiting. I'm getting information that I don't know where it's coming from. This is really worthy of another chat. So I guess what I'm saying to my fellow practitioners, or people that are curious about tapping into, maybe you have spirit workers, medicine men and women in your heritage that you may not be aware of, and it's calling you, epigenetically. So these are things to consider. I feel that I have that has been hidden for many years. I'm tapping into it, but anybody can. And it will become clear or manifest in the right, perfect way. Like, everybody has an angle. Like, everybody's going to have a little different way of working or allowing spirit to work, and you won't really know until you let go of preconceived ideas, of programming, of subconscious blocks, of fear, of, but that's something that I'm working out, and I'm probably going to speak a little bit more to that if I feel that would be beneficial to share. But I'm just bringing it out there to introduce the fact that I am practicing some kind of spiritual work that I am unfamiliar with, but is very clearly impactful and very clearly working in the lives of people in a positive way. And so I'm just going to keep pushing. All right. Well, very nice. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know your time is very valuable, and makes me feel connected. So I thank you for allowing me to connect with you today, and to allow myself also to explore more things about myself in the process.